game on the line. You can't fold and you can't bend. Y'all be playing it safe and I be going for the win. Remember back when they was doubting on the kid. Now they tuned in cause my game too legit.
What is going on, Headliner Nation? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Hopefully everybody's doing well out there today. What? Oh. Okay. Good? Am I good? All right. What is going on, Headliner Nation? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Hopefully everybody's doing well out there today. We're talking about blind comparisons. I gotta wear this damn thing the whole time? It's uncomfortable. Really? They're gonna love it. Dude, if they don't, I'll be pissed, Taylor. Anyway, today we're talking about blind comparisons for quarterbacks, right? So many times people fall in love with the big names. Damn, I hit the microphone. I don't even know where the microphone's at. Is it okay still? All right, anyway, the big names, right? Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, they all get drafted early. But a lot of times, there's some high-level elite quarterbacks that we can find similar production later on in the draft. But the problem is the name bias, right? People, I can't do this. All right, I just can't. Dude, I'm not even centered. Can't even trust your friends nowadays, right? I got to get centered. Dude, I wasn't even close. Anyway, when you take the names out of the equations and you look at raw performance, raw stats, it's really hard to figure out who these guys are sometimes. And that's a good tool to use when you're searching for late round value in fantasy football, right? If you miss out on those big studs or you don't want to spend that early draft pick, which I don't, you can find some similar production later on down the road. That's what we're talking about here today. Before I get into a few of these blind comparisons, though, real quick, head over to manscaped.com. Use the promo code HEADLINERS at checkout. You'll get 20% off, you'll get free shipping, and you'll take care of your business from head to toe, right? Nobody wants to see Chewbacca walking around the streets here in the summer, myself included. I live in the South. It can get scary at times, right? But yeah, take care of yourself. Head over there. Get yourself 20% off, right? Who doesn't like free money or a coupon? Coupons are amazing, and you can use ours at manscaped.com. Just use the promo code HEADLINERS, all caps, at checkout. But now, let's head into the first blind comparison here when we're talking about quarterbacks. And we're going to start off with what I think is an easy one for you guys to figure out there. However, when you look at things side by side, maybe it can help you, think a little bit differently. So we got two quarterbacks here. Quarterback on the left, one extra game. However, look at the passing yard difference. We're talking about what? I mean, that's a lot of math. I don't even know if I can do that. 1,900 yards-ish more for player on the left. That's a huge difference. What about passing touchdowns? 14 different for player on the left. Interceptions, slightly more, but I could get that. Looks like a lot more volume, right? Fantasy points per drop back, though, they're tied at 0.53 fantasy points per drop back. Fantasy points per game, identical. Completion percentage, pretty dang close. Rushing yards, not even in the same ballpark. And it's this stat right here that I believe will make it easy for you to guess who player on the right is. Look at rushing touchdowns. Player on the left with 3, player on the right with 7. Pass attempts per game, identical. ADP is where there's a little bit of a change, right? Look at player on the right, a lot more expensive. A 4th round draft pick in order to get player on the right. Player on the left, 7th round. A little bit more of that sweet spot that I'm looking for when I'm drafting quarterbacks. Now, obviously, I'm not going to beat around the bush here with this one. We'll put the names up here. This is Tom Brady versus Lamar Jackson. Now, a lot of people are so enamored with the rushing stats as a quarterback. And trust me, I like it too. I'm not knocking that. I'm not saying Lamar Jackson isn't good. The problem is the passing upside. And we had a great talk when we were in Canton here this past weekend. The lone boner himself was dropping some Lamar Jackson fire. And I get it. I don't blame Lamar Jackson for the lack of his weapons, right? Rashad Bateman, he's already banged up. Sammy Watkins is perma banged up. Hollywood Brown, always banged up. He just doesn't have those options at his disposal that maybe like a guy like Tom Brady has, right? With Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Antonio Brown and Gronk. Tons of options there. Lamar doesn't have that. So he's going to suffer in the passing game. However, he makes up for it in the rushing game. But at a time like this, when you're looking at these two players, personally, I'd rather wait 3 rounds and get that potential upside from Tom Brady because it's a little bit safer in my opinion. I don't want to have to rely on Lamar Jackson throwing the ball more than what he did last year. It just doesn't doesn't make for a smart decision at the beginning of a draft. Now, I love Lamar Jackson just like everybody else, and I'm not knocking the guy whatsoever. But Tom Brady and that offense really started to click the second half of 2020. Now we get a full season of said clicked offense here in 2021, and he could actually improve on those numbers, which is absolutely crazy to think about. All right, let's go on to the next one here. And this one may be a little bit harder, right? We got two quarterbacks here. Both of them played in 16 games when it comes to passing yards. Player on the right, 400 more. Touchdowns, one more for the player on the left. Interceptions, super close, right? Only separated by 2 interceptions. Fantasy points per dropback, pretty dang close here once again. Fantasy points per game, right around a 1 point difference, not bad. Completion percentage, a little bit slightly in favor of player on the left. Rushing yards, neither of these guys are breaking any ground speed records, if you know what I mean. Rushing touchdowns, a couple for each. Passing attempts per game favors the guy on the right just a little bit, which means, 5 extra attempts a game, I would expect him to have a few more passing yards. So that makes a little bit of sense to me. And then ADP, player on the right is in the 10th. Player on the left is in the 15th. Actually, he started to creep up to the 15th. He was even lower than that just a few weeks ago. And when you see the 2 names here at the top of the list, it may be somewhat of a surprise. And I only say that because player on the left may be one of the most disrespected fantasy quarterbacks that I can remember here in recent time. These numbers are fairly close. Now, player on the right had a little bit of a down year, I guess you could say, in 2020. However, look at the stats. 4,500 yards, 26 touchdowns, not a bad year, right? It's just not his best year. And we'll go ahead and reveal these 2 names. Player on the left is the one and only disrespected Derek Carr, when player on the right is Matt Ryan, Matty Ice of the Atlanta Falcons. So, as you can see, we know Matt Ryan struggled at times last year. But what is he going to do this year? No Julio Jones, they've added Kyle Pitts. Is that a 1-for-1 swap? I can't put Pitts that high. I can't make him that caliber of a receiver in his first year as a rookie, as a tight end in Atlanta. I can't put him up in that same tier as Julio has been in the past. However, he still has weapons, right? He's got Russell Gage. They added Mike Davis in the backfield. So I could see similar numbers across the board for Matt Ryan here this year. Like I said, not bad. I wouldn't be surprised if his numbers this year are right in line with that. But Derek Carr, dude could improve on those numbers, right? Did anybody really realize that Derek Carr, outside of Raiders fans, that he threw for over 4,000 yards and 27 touchdowns last year? That is not bad at all. And who did the guy really have to throw to? Nelson Aguilar? Hunter Renfrow at times? Now all of a sudden, we see Henry Ruggs taking a step forward. Bryan Edwards is surprising a lot of people in camp, really opening some eyes there. There's options in this offense now, right? There's potential for him to improve on those numbers. He got more weapons in the offseason, where Matt Ryan, if anything, really stayed the same or lost a little bit, right? But Derek Carr can improve. You're getting him in the 15th round. Now, are you going to draft Derek Carr as your quarterback 1 in the 15th round? Maybe, if you got those big old cojones, you know what I'm talking about. But if you don't, he's somebody who's great for Superflex. He's somebody who is great for best ball late in drafts, because I think with those big plays with Henry Ruggs, that could really open up some potential for him. Do I want him to be my quarterback 1, though, in regular redraft, 12-team, 10-team leagues? Probably not. But he's definitely a name that I am paying attention to and I don't want to forget about. And I'm watching him on the waiver wire, because this guy has been slept on for years by people over here. I love me some Derek Carr. I don't understand the hate. Why? Why do people dislike Derek Carr? Put it down below in the comment section. Why do people dislike him so much for being not so bad, right? He's really not that bad. So, it kind of opens your eyes a little bit. A lot more people more willing to take Matt Ryan than Derek Carr. But when you compare them side by side, honestly, if I had to choose between the two here this year in 2021, I have no issues taking Derek Carr over Matty Ice. All right, reset the list. Here we go. A couple new quarterbacks, and this one, pretty close. You may have some trouble deciding who these two guys are. And player on the left, I'll tell you right now, up front, another one of those most disrespected quarterbacks in all things fantasy football. Looking at the stats, though, player on the right, 1 less game played, however, did have a few more passing yards, passing touchdowns, favors player on the left. Interceptions, close, favoring player on the right. Fantasy points per dropback, almost identical. Fantasy points per game, slightly favoring player on the right. And remember, that's because he had 1 less game played. Completion percentage, close. Rushing yards, fairly close. Rushing touchdowns, slightly favoring player on the right for sure, but when you add up the total amount of touchdowns for both of them, it's 36 apiece. Passing attempts per game, favoring player on the right, but ADP is the biggest difference. Look at the difference at ADP. Quarterback on the right, you have to take in the 5th round. Quarterback on the left, you can wait and take in the 11th round. Now, am I saying that quarterback on the left is better than quarterback on the right and he should be drafted in the 5th? No. We want the value in the 11th because we are always about that late round quarterback. And when I reveal the names, you're kind of going to go, ugh, I don't want that on my team. But look at the numbers and look at history, right? This isn't just some, out of nowhere occurrence for quarterback on the left, because quarterback on the left is Kirk Cousins of the Minnesota Vikings, where quarterback on the right is Justin Herbert, or Herbert if you're feeling fancy right now. But it's a huge difference, right? But Kirk Cousins is somebody who on a yearly basis will go out there and produce. And why won't he again this year? He still has Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson in his second year, Irv Smith Jr. as stud tight end, a young athletic tight end that could really help move the sticks, Dalvin Cook in the backfield to draw defenses in. Plus, we know he super excels in the short passing screen game. Kirk Cousins could definitely duplicate these numbers. Can Justin Herbert dramatically improve? No, I don't think he can. I think he's going to get better. Trust me, I love me some Herbie, but dramatically better? I don't think so. 4,500 yards, 36, 37 touchdowns or so? Yeah, that's better than what it was last year, but it's still in the same ballpark as Kirk Cousins, who's still 6 rounds later. That's what it's all about, is trying to find that value. And in the 5th round of a fantasy football draft, that's where I'm trying to go after, my running back 3, my wide receiver 3, my tight end 1, whatever it may be. I don't want to use it on a quarterback that early. I'll wait a little bit and take some of these other guys that we've talked about here in this show today. And that's what this exercise is all about, right? It's just taking that name value bias out of the equation. Because if you ask somebody on a sheet of paper, hey, who would you rather have? Kirk Cousins or Justin Herbert? Is there going to be anybody that circles Kirk Cousins? Like anyone at all? Probably not. But when you compare them side by side, take the names out of the equation, all it does is open your mind up to see things a little bit differently. And that's what these shows are all about. We're trying to show you how to take away that bias. We have our own biases. There's teams we like, there's players we like, there's ones that we don't. But we don't just hang on to it and purposely tell you bad advice just because of a personal bias. That would be stupid and pointless. We're trying to make sure that we make you a better fantasy football player. And it's exercises like this that get you to that point, and that's what this channel is all about. So like I said at the beginning of the video, make sure you head over to manscaped.com, use promo code headliners, all caps at checkout, and get yourself 20% off and free shipping. Did any of these catch you by surprise? Did you guess any of them? Leave them down below in the comment section. We're going to be doing this for tight ends as well. Taylor's going to have to I'm going to need a different blindfold or something I can at least see through. They don't have to know that I can see through it, but I need to see. I work on that. Anyway, going forward here, though, we love doing things like this. And if you enjoy it, hit that like button for us, right? The likes greatly help us, and they're free to do. So hit that like button and consider subscribing. The season's right around the corner. Super pumped for that. And we also have a vlog, behind-the-scenes style vlog from our trip to Canton coming out here in the near future, and you do not want to miss that. So hopefully you have a great rest of your day, a great week, and we'll talk to you later.